They cast themselves as the villain, and now they want to rewrite the story. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
My God.
It was a logical progression. We could blame the writer's strike way back. We used to have sitcoms and 1 hour format dramedies and characters that we fell in love with that told a story. Then the world of reality came in. But it really wasn't reality, because that genre of taking 30 hours of footage and cutting it into 22 minutes of something entertaining took a lot of effort and a lot of wasted time. It wasn't really optimized. So it became scripted reality, where there's storylines and there's some planned interactions, and we just we don't do the work of actually putting it word for word on paper. We kind of give an outline. And that, had some merit. Until you see the same two flipping a table over some broken nail that doesn't matter, and you realize, wow, this really isn't superb. But what happened next is not the solution. And that is sending the conflict in the form of a remotely controlled, I've called them chaos agents before. They aren't always chaotic. At the end of the day, they are a person with feelings, usually. But sending them with, somebody whispering in their ear what to do in the moment to create the storyline that is desired. You could call it the Truman Show, but I think the Truman Show actually had more thought than what I'm describing. There's a difference between setting a stage for a situation and everybody knows what that situation is going to be before it happens, and what has happened, which is we're hiring you to do what you're told in the moment, and you don't have time to think about it for yourself. You're just following the director or the producer who's off somewhere else, monitoring in real time and giving direction of where the story should go. It still might sound okay. It still might sound okay at this point to some people. But what if the person being recorded doesn't even know that they're involved, they aren't being compensated, and they're still having to exist in the matrix reality, have a job, go to doctor appointments, make sure you're feeding yourself, taking care of your home. How can you put that kind of responsibility on somebody and sign them up for a non-scripted Truman Show reality and think that it's going to be successful, or that that the ends are going to justify the means? So clearly it didn't, and there was a point where it was abandoned, but that doesn't fix it. Everybody knows post-production takes a long time. Pre-production takes a long time. But when you skip it all together, it's really just a scam. A scam with a bunch of willing, unwilling participants, because they didn't know. They didn't know. When I shot a pilot and I cast that pilot and produced that pilot, everybody knew that there was a script. Everybody knew what to say. Everybody knew what met and what didn't meet the storyline. There were no erratic table flippings just out of nowhere. There were no, you're being evicted because of this situation. There were no unplanned hospital visits or ambulance calls because the situation got out of hand. Can you imagine being in a reality program like I've described, happening in real time, and something goes off the rails and you're nowhere near the situation, but you really are responsible for it? Can you imagine being that executive producer, where you're expected to be the one telling the ambulance who the person is that's hurt, what their situation is, what's their emergency contact information. Can you imagine being responsible for a production that you are going to make money off of, and you have to explain that the person that you're admitting to the hospital has no idea they're being recorded for a TV show? Never mind the amount of privacy abuses. Let's just gloss over that. Never mind, nobody signed up for a Big Brother situation with cameras in their bathroom and shower and in their house. And maybe that won't make the cut, but maybe it doesn't matter because the footage got leaked, or the footage was stolen, or it was just against the law in the first place. Now imagine you figure it out as it's happening, and you warn them and tell them to stop, that you do not consent, and you get crickets. No acknowledgement that it's stopped, that anything's going to be corrected. It's just like they served a cease and desist on themselves virtually, and no one witnessed it. That is not how this can work. It's not legal, and some of the things are outright human rights violations. They're absolutely against the universal law and free will, and they're against many jurisdictional protections, privacy, etc. I don't know what has to go wrong in your Hollywood lawyer mind to think that this is a way to go. But it's not. It's not. And you're still gonna have to fix it. This is crazy. I'm gonna go back and get a picture of it. Literally, the license plate says privacy. I was just recording. I turn the camera off, take a turn. I mean, confirmation, right? This reality, that isn't even Truman Show. You can't, how could you make that happen? I have never seen a vanity plate with a word that isn't like why would you put privacy on your vanity plate? You paid for that to be your plate? Somebody paid for that plate. And I'm recording about this story about what's happened that has all to do about privacy violations, and that's the first car I see? These are the things that blow my mind. It's not some half-wit wannabe that had a good idea for a reality genre. Oh, it's great if we can get away with it. Oh my, this guy just ran a red light. It's green now. This is the Matrix that I know. Pay attention to your surroundings and try what I'm doing. Try talking your story out loud. Record it if you want, but just watch what manifests immediately in front of your face as confirmation to what's going on and how this really works. I know that I'm aligned. I know that I'm righteous. It's better than being wrongtious. And to anyone that has made the wrong choices and participated in things that painted them as a villain, and they don't want to be that villain, then you need to change now. Now's your time to make a different choice. It's not that hard when you think about it. When you read the room, when you read the signs that are coming at you constantly. Be present. Think. Don't count on somebody whispering what you're supposed to do in your ear to drive your story over your own. Because if your interior monologue was running, you would have stopped instead of doubling down, tripling down, quadrupling down, and then being confused now. You're not confused. it's a different kind of issue. And it hurts. But imagine what everyone else feels. Calzone.